All right, everyone, welcome in. Ready to dive deep. Today, we're tackling the wild world of relationships.
The wild world.
Well, it can feel wild, right? With all the ups and downs.
Fair enough. And unpredictable, too. Which is why I think this deep dive is going to be so useful for our listeners.
Absolutely. We're going to map out those common conflict zones that pop up at different life stages. And let me tell you, the research you sent over, seriously insightful. From those first awkward steps into adulthood.
You say awkward.
Well, it's not all smooth sailing, is it?
Definitely not.
Okay, from those first steps into adulthood all the way to those golden years.
It's fascinating how those relationship dynamics shift right alongside our life circumstances, isn't it?
Totally. So let's break it down, give everyone a heads up on what to expect.
That's good.
All right, picture this. You're in your 20s, maybe early 30s. Career's just taking off. Student loans are like that roommate who overstays their welcome.
Oh, I remember those days.
And on top of all that, you're trying to figure out how to merge your life with someone else's without, losing yourself in the process. It's a lot.
It really is. And, that whole juggling act, trying to find that balance between me and we, the research points to that as a huge source of conflict in those early years.
Because you're still figuring out who you are as individuals.
Exactly. And then you throw in trying to merge finances. Talk about a recipe for, shall we say, lively discussions.
Oh yeah, money talks. Or should I say, money argues.
Right. And you know what else can spark a good debate or two in those early years? The whole starting a family conversation.
Big one.
Huge. Because you've got different timelines, different desires. Heck, sometimes couples are working with completely different visions for the future.
It's interesting, though, because the research you gave me actually showed that couples who sat down and actually talked about discipline styles before having kids, they reported being way happier down the line.
Proactive communication. Saves a lot of headaches later on.
Totally. Okay, so you've laid the groundwork. You're a well-oiled machine. You've got this relationship thing down. And then, bam, you hit your late 30s and 40s. Careers are going full throttle. You've maybe got a little 1 or 2 running around.
Or 3. Don't forget about us overachievers.
True. And suddenly it's less about balance and more about just keeping all the balls in the air.
Oh, it's a juggling act, for sure. The never-ending cycle of school events, extracurriculars, work demands. It's no wonder this age group tends to feel the pressure.
And the research backs that up. Disagreements about parenting styles, who's doing what around the house, and of course the ever-present joy of major financial decisions.
Because those financial pressures, they tend to multiply, shall we say, during this stage. Mortgages, college funds. It's a lot to manage.
Speaking of managing, one thing that really stood out in the research was that couples who create a joint budget, even something simple, were less likely to end up at each other's throats about money.
It's all about being on the same page.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right? All right, hold on to your hats, everyone, because we're zooming ahead to the 46-55-year-old range. Kids are starting to think about flying the coop.
Cue the empty nest syndrome.
Right. Freedom at last, but also maybe a little, who are we now?
It's a weird in-between, isn't it? You're rediscovering what it means to be a couple again, but you're also dealing with all those emotional and physical changes that come with this stage of life.
And let's not forget, for a lot of people, this is also when they're stepping into the role of caregivers for their aging parents.
Talk about a plot twist.
Right. And the research really highlighted that as a potential pressure cooker.
Because caring for aging parents, it brings a whole other set of challenges to the table. Emotional, logistical, financial.
It can really put a strain on a relationship if you're not careful. Okay, next up, we're entering pre-retirement territory, 56 to 65. Retirement might sound like the dream.
Sleeping in, traveling the world.
Exactly. But like any big life change, it can shake things up in the relationship department.
Absolutely. In fact, the research shows that couples in this stage often struggle with financial anxieties. Like different visions for retirement, disagreements about money management, that sort of thing.
And after years of focusing on careers and the kids, couples might realize they've, grown apart a bit.
Yeah, it happens. But the good news is, it's never too late to reconnect. Date nights, shared hobbies, even therapy. It can make a world of difference.
All right, last stop on our relationship roadmap, 66 to 70. We've officially reached retirement. Kids are out, careers are winding down. It's just the two of you, 147.
Which can be amazing. but also a huge adjustment.
Because you're navigating each other's space constantly, those
Yeah.
little quirks that were once kind of cute.
They can become major annoyances if you're not careful,
And let's be real, health issues tend to pop up more as we get older.
which can definitely add another layer of complexity to the relationship.
So much truth in that.
But, even with all these potential challenges, what I find so hopeful is that the research emphasizes the importance of communication, empathy, and patience, especially in these later years.
This deep dive has been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. And I think the biggest takeaway is that relationships are constantly evolving. There's no finish line, no we've arrived moment.
So true. What's resonating with you most from all of this? What stages felt familiar? Think about it as you continue on your own unique relationship adventure. Until next time.
See you then.